What's going on, everyone? This is Erik with Full Mind MMA, and today I am joined by UFC welterweight Neil Magny. Neil, thank you for joining me.
No problem, man. Pleasure being here with you.
Of course. Congratulations. I heard that you signed a new 5-fight contract with the UFC. Did you have fights left on the old one? How did that come together today?
Yeah, so normally with the way UFC works, you don't necessarily fight out your last contract or your last fight on your contract. You get to kind of up the ante on that last one, so to speak. So just in a good position where I did pretty well on my last contract. I was up for a new one, and we were able to get the deal done.
That's great. That's great. And you've got a fight this time. I know last time we spoke, you were really looking for any fight. So I'm really happy that you're able to get back in there on March 26th against Max Griffin. How did this fight end up coming together?
He was one of the guys who actually said yes. I mean, last year I got called out so many different times, and for some reason or another, these fights never kind of came through. And it wasn't because of lack of trying on my end. I mean, I was calling people out every chance that I got to make these fights happen, but for some reason they weren't taking place. Max Griffin had to be one of the guys to actually say yes to the fight, and here we are. We have an amazing fight lined up for next week.
That's great. I was going to say you were kind of the boogeyman at 170 for a little bit. It seemed like everyone was, a couple of people called you out, but nothing ever came together until now. Did anyone else turn down fights? Anyone ranked before they settled on Max Griffin here?
Yeah, I mean, I went through 3 ranked opponents before I finally got a fight scheduled. I mean, it was this constant, yeah, we're going to fight, let's make it happen. We got to talking with the UFC to try to make things happen, and for some reason or another, the fight fell through on their end. And then it was like a few days or a few weeks to go by, and it'll be like, oh, this came up and this is a better matchup, or this came up and I decided to go that route. But for whatever reason, there was a lot of talking going on last year, but no one was actually stepping up to actually sign a bout agreement and make the fights happen.
Of course. And you were the only one calling out Khamzat Chimaev for a while. Was that fight ever close to materializing to the best of your knowledge?
Yeah, I mean, last I heard about that fight, Dana was actually ready to pull the trigger to make that fight happen. And some visa issues came up, and that ended up being the one decided factor whether or not that fight was going to take place. But here we are. We're looking forward. He has a fight, I have a fight. So I can set that in the back burner for now.
Of course. And I know that you know Max a little bit because you guys were on Tough together. That's right. So do you have any expectations for how this fight plays out, being that you've seen him train before?
No, man, these guys are veteran of the game, just like I am. He's been around for a real long time. He's a very durable guy. He's been in the sport for who knows how long, over 10 years at this point. We've had a couple of similar opponents over the years, but he's in a good place right now. He's riding a 3-fight win streak. This came off with a very dominant win over Carlos Condit. So yeah, I expect him to bring the fight next Saturday, and that's the kind of opponent I'm looking to go out there and scrap against.
You're a nice guy. You don't have bad relationships with a lot of fighters, I don't believe. But do you have any kind of relationship with Max since you guys did share that tough season together?
Not at all. I mean, it's all at this point. It's all business. I mean, I kind of wish him the best throughout his career. Same thing, vice versa. But right now, at this point, it's 100% business. I mean, he has a family to take care of. I do as well. We both have the title aspirations in our minds. So for me, just going out there and take care of business.
Of course, it should be a very exciting fight. Assuming everything goes well for you on March 26th, is it time to demand somebody ranked ahead of you?
Man, at this point, what do I possibly have to do to make fights happen? I mean, I've been calling people out nonstop all last year, and for some reason, not one of those opponents had ever said, "Oh yeah, sure, I'll fight you." So at this point, I mean, just keep working. That's the moving forward for me. That's the model that worked for the last 10 years with the UFC. So at this point in my career, why switch it up? I'm just gonna go out there, get a dominant win, and just keep moving forward. If the UFC says fight number 15 guy, cool, sign me up. Let's make it happen sooner or later. At this part of my life and career, I just don't like these long layoffs, and I want to get as close to that top 5 and eventually get myself in title contention again as soon as possible. So if it means I have to fight guys that are ranked just ahead of me or just below me in order to move up one slot at a time, I'll do it. But at this point, I just can't afford to waste any time.
Absolutely. Yeah. And, I think it's been, what about like a 10-month layoff by the time you're going to step in there in a couple of weeks?
Yeah.
Obviously, I'm sure you would have liked to have been fighting, but have you been able to, really improve on some things with this layoff? Like, how have you been spending that time?
Yeah, I mean, so the good thing about this time off is I never stop training. I'm constantly training for an opportunity. I'm constantly training to get better in all aspects. So having this long layoff for me, I feel like it's a huge advantage because it allowed me to kind of work on a lot of different skill sets during that time. I mean, I'm one of those guys when I win or lose a fight, I go back, I watch film, and I look at where I can improve on it. So looking at that last fight against Jeff Neal, I definitely took some pointers of where I can improve, and I've been hitting the ground running ever since as far as like making those improvements.
That's great. And I don't know if you saw this right now, at least on Google. I know this isn't like the final layout for the fights. Right now, it's listed as a prelim fight. Do you know if that's correct?
I have no idea. And whatever UFC throws me on this fight card, I'm gonna go out there and make the best show possible. So if they want me to start the card out, it makes no difference to me. I'm gonna go out there and entertain the fans. I mean, I'm super excited that this is one of those fight cards that's gonna have a full venue and that kind of thing. So I'm gonna go out there and perform. So whether it's a prelim fight or wherever card it may end up, I honestly do not care. I'm just gonna go out there and perform.
Okay, I got you. And I was actually going to ask you about that as well. It's the first fight night in the US since COVID with a full crowd. Are you looking forward to that being in front of the fans again, or did you not mind the Apex? What are your thoughts?
100%. I mean, like, I feel like with the work I've been putting in and like with the improvements that I make, I deserve to go out there and perform in front of a crowd. So I look forward to go out there and just welcome the crowd in person and seeing what kind of feedback I get the day after the fight. So I'm super excited to have the full arena for this fight.
That's great. And speaking of the Apex, your training partner at Elevation, Drew Dober, just had an incredible fight against Terrance McKinney. I was losing my mind watching that fight. I don't know either one of them personally. You obviously do. Like, how were you watching? Like, I'm assuming you saw it. I mean, that was an incredible fight.
Dude, I was on the edge of my seat the whole time. It's like, oh my God, he's out. Oh my God, he's back up. Like I was losing my mind the entire time. My son even looked back and was just like, the heck are you doing, Dad? Chill. Like it was just so much excitement, so much action going back and forth. I mean, that was probably one of the best first rounds of the fight I've ever seen. I mean, both guys came out there and rocked it, and I was happy to see Drew get the win at the end of the day.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it was, I mean, round of the year so far, at least, and it should hold up for a long time. Another training partner of yours, Curtis Blaydes, is going to be sharing the card with you. He's headlining against Chris Daukaus. What are your thoughts on that matchup? I'm sure you've been, training alongside Curtis a little bit.
Man, that's a scary matchup right now. Seeing the improvements Curtis has made, not just like on the map, but in the weight or across the board, that's a scary man right now. Like I even have to like pull back and tuck the crowd to it because like uh he doesn't realize how like he'll do like a simple slap on the shoulders and I'm like falling off balance type thing. But like the man has evolved so much since the last fight. I mean, he's became a much better athlete. His skill sets has improved tremendously. So I'm excited to go out there and watch him perform as well.
Of course. And, we're still pretty early in 2022. So I'm assuming you want to be a little bit more active. Of course, that wasn't really up to you to begin with. But, when it's all said and done, when 2022 is over, where do you see yourself? Like, how many fights do you think you'd have rankings wise? Like, where would you like to end up?
By the end of the year, I'll be right there knocking on title contention. That's my goal. Whomever had to fight to make it happen, however often I have to fight to make that happen, I'm looking to be in title contention by the end of the year. I know fighters say it time and time again, like, oh, this is my year, this is my year. Like, I don't have time to waste. I'm doing it right now. Like I'm hitting the ground running and going to be in title contention by the end of the year.
Of course. And speaking of title contention, I was wondering, it seems like welterweight's finally moving again. It was very stagnant for a while, especially in that top five. We talked about that a little bit the last time we spoke. But I wanted to ask you about the title picture because there's a lot of debate over who should get the next title shot. Seems like Leon Edwards is ahead of everyone right now. But, you have Khamzat versus Gilbert Burns. People saying Colby Covington might deserve another shot after the last performance. Like, what do you think? Who do you think deserves the next shot at the title?
If I'm being unbiased and fair, my honest opinion would be Leon Edwards. I mean, the man's on like an 8-9 fight win streak right now. He's fought everyone the UFC put in front of him and won those fights in the last few fights. So if I'm giving my non-biased opinion, I would believe that it would be him. But at the end of the day, this is also a business as well. So which fight is going to generate the most revenue for the UFC will probably be the one that like ends up fighting for the title. So who knows what it's going to look like, but I'm looking to be in the mix to get myself in that picture. So that's the main focus for me.
Absolutely. And I can't wait to see it. Neil, you've been so generous with your time today. I wanted to give you the floor now. Anything you wanted to shout out or promote, the floor is yours.
No problem. It was a pleasure talking to you. I really appreciate the opportunity to kind of get the word out there about this fight. I guarantee it's going to be a banger, so make sure you guys tune in next Saturday.
All right, awesome. March 26th, Max Griffin versus Neil Magny. I can't wait to see you back, Neil. Thank you again for the time.
Awesome, man. Have a good day.
Hey everyone, thanks for watching this video. If you like our content, be sure to subscribe to Full Man MMA. And while you're at it, make sure to hit the bell icon as well so you never miss an update from us.